we thought we'd share a story that we wrote for our 7 grandchildren to help them learn how to more fully experience the wonder hidden in the sacred mystery that we've been talking about through our audio resource here. Dear Kaylin, Anthony, Olivia, Alyssa, Logan, Brandon, and Sophia, you will remember how many years ago Grandma and Papa taught you how to make maple syrup. Because you learned those skills so well, we decided to write this Stealing Happiness collection that you've been listening to help you with life's other farming chores now that you are more grown up. As you learned earlier in life on our farm, please eat this mindfully and slowly, giving lots of time for digestion, processing, and experimentation. Remember that success is most often preceded by making some mistakes, so keep growing your courage to be imperfect. And thank you for teaching us so much about loving and learning. So, instructions. Did you know that scientists are just now starting to catch up with understanding how gallons of sap in trees go against the laws of gravity every spring? The sap flows and floats 100 feet up from where she has been sleeping in tree roots all winter to the top of her tree to nurture her baby buds. She does this approximately the same time every year. And we're just starting to understand how that might be. This little story is to tell you that sap isn't just sap. Sap doesn't believe that it is just sap, and so it isn't. This is likely the most important truth that Grammy and Papa will ever share with you. How sap comes to us from being beyond the laws of gravity is only one of its many mysteries and miracles. If you will work and play with her, using the following instructions, you will always be discovering more of Mother Nature's secrets, and eventually you will know, far beyond thinking about it, that there are no ordinary moments in growing, harvesting, and transforming sap into something very special. The sacred gift hidden to us, present just under Mother Nature's dark bark, is just so special. In life, lots of special gifts hide in the dark. Should you choose to look, we mean really look, for her special energy will flow to nurture you too, just like she nurtures her baby buds at the top of the trees. So here deep in our family's forest, each spring, Mother Nature sings her sacred song, silent splash, as each drip ripples out of her loving body. Grammy and Papa find that we really have to pay attention to hear her. She has now selflessly done her part for another season and awaits our response. We must expect to see nothing more from her for a while. Now, after giving her sap to us, she surrounds our sugar shack and waits patiently. As we mindfully chop wood to fuel the fires that are so necessary to purify her gifts and discover her secrets, we find that it really helps when we mindfully pay attention when we are chopping the wood. Now, we have to confess here, for years Grammy and Papa have experienced difficulty in finding the right equipment, like an open pot for cooking. This year we searched in places that we had looked many times before in hopes of finding what we needed. One day there it was, right under our nose, the perfect pot that we needed to do the cooking. Other years we even went to many special stores to buy the equipment, but what we bought just didn't seem to work. We now think that a lot of the problem was us, just not looking close enough, paying attention. So often in past springs, boiling in small, restricted containers, we have foolishly attempted to evaporate the sap's impurities, only to waste firewood and even create dangerous pressure. This season will be different, though. We have already learned the importance of how to carefully start and manage the fire. Mindfully paying attention really helps to manage the fire. Birch bark and small pieces of dry softwood to start, just bits at first. For so many seasons and reasons, we thought that because it was good for starting a fire, Softwood would give sufficient heat to bring the sap to a boil long enough to purify it. Not so. This was a very disappointing lesson because softwood is so much easier to work with than hardwood. Mindfully paying attention to our disappointments really helped here. We have now learned that once the fire is started, a consistent, ongoing supply of hardwood like ash and maple are required to sustain the heat. Really important to remember that. Ash and maple require much more effort to cut and split, but the job just cannot be done without them. That's how your mummies and daddies have been so helpful to us in doing this job. We could never have done it alone. Your mummies and daddies will also need help from you children to boil down their sap, just like they help Grammy and Papa boil down ours. The more they mindfully pay attention to you children, the more help they will get from you. Grammy and Papa hope that whenever you see them not keeping their fires hot enough, you will bring them some hardwood to burn. Now, for some reason, most people don't like to harvest and boil sap to find the special secrets and gifts that it has to give. But Grammy and I really hope that you will keep up this tradition too, that we learned from our mummies and daddies and other farmers many years ago. All you have to do to know all the secrets and powers, mysteries and miracles, is to believe that sap isn't just sap. Agree to keep boiling it each day to discover its many more delicious truths, and mindfully pay attention to what you're doing. That's the main instructions. Now, because ash and maple are so important and require a lot of effort to cut and split, Graham and I have asked a number of other sap cooking farmers how to be as efficient as possible in keeping the heat strong with the smallest amount of hardwood. They taught us 4 tools to make this happen, and we're passing them on to you in this book. They said that one of the most important things about the 4 tools is to learn how to really pay attention to what we do. Your great-grandfather, Bubs, my dad, always used to say to me, "Mind what you're doing now, son." He and Gran, my mom, were great maple syrup farmers. So once boiling, the heat just naturally seems to carry off the excess water. The trick is to use all your resources, knowledge, support, and effort wisely to keep the sap boiling and purifying. This is most important. It's also very important to stay awake. Many times in the past, Grammy and I fell asleep and the fire went out or got out of control. It felt good to sleep at the time, but then we had to start all over to get the sap boiling again. Papa truly regrets some of the times that he fell asleep, but these times did teach me important lessons anyway. Now, although you find that the water will just seem to evaporate on its own when the fire is hot enough, many other impurities must be constantly skimmed off. Heat alone is not enough. Remember that. It seems that the more we boil, the more impurities just seem to come to the surface from nowhere. Now, using these tools we've talked about, awareness, management, understanding, using the tools, we skim and the brew is clean. We come back a little later and more skimming is required. Sometimes I need Grammy to help me with the skimming because there are so many impurities I don't even see. This season we started to boil and everything seemed to be going perfect. The sap was plentiful thanks to Mother Nature and our magic forest. We kept a well-managed hardwood fire, got a more open pot for cooking, but something seemed very wrong. After boiling many hours, the pure clean sap started to turn dark brown. This is not what we expected. We felt anxious, a little frustrated, and even a bit embarrassed, thinking that maybe our friends would find out that we made a mistake. Now, wouldn't you think that after all these years of learning to get this far along, that we would have learned not to get so attached to the way that this purified gift of nature is supposed to look? So much more to learn. But mindfully paying attention over and over helps us remember. Now we taste the dark brown brew, and it is delicious maple syrup. It's just right. even when it initially appeared all wrong, just like we heard it would be. Sometimes light in color, sometimes darker, but it always tastes just right. But how can it be this good? We didn't add anything to it. We can hardly wait to have some of this with you this year, children, and give the rest away. We'll see you in the forest, okay? You'll find us by the big tree, mindfully listening to the silence in between the splashes. Love, Grammy and Papa.